Hey guys, Music Man here, back with another Identity 5 video, and I am back with another Bloody Queen video, so without further ado, let's get into the video. Alright, so the first match I'm showing you guys is with Bloody Queen on Sacred Heart. Now, Sacred Heart is one of my lesser favorite maps, just because there's so many strong areas with the ruins and the hospital. Just some really good areas for survivors. Although it is a lot easier for the Bloody Queen to navigate than a lot of other hunters to play. So I come across the Prospector first. Now, Prospector is a good choice for a first target. However, the Prospector does have a lot of kiting potential. So if it does take too much time, don't worry about getting the Prospector and immediately move on. But I'm in a pretty decent position right now, and I end up getting that first down nice and quick, so it's not too much of a problem that I end up getting the Prospector down first. And I do know that the Seer is in there in that little area there inside the hospital with that Cypher, so I'm waiting for my mirror to recharge so I'm able to try to take a couple swings at him in there. And he actually set off a calibration, so the notification was covering up, so I couldn't really see my target very well there. But the Cowboy does end up saving the Prospector, but the Cowboy was not using Tide, so I have a potential to get nice down there. That was a really good magnet there. However, if he can't make it in the hospital, then he doesn't really have too much he can do. Now, he ends up trying to go over to Shack. My recommendation would have been to try to go into hospital, because the hospital is, without question, the best part of this map for survivors. While Ruins is very strong, there's not a ton you can do after all the pallets are used up in there, where the two-story still leaves a lot of potential, especially if you've I know they don't have it in this team comp, but if they've got like a good Priestess in there, you can really continue keeping up the kiting potential there. Now, I should have looked around for the Cowboy earlier, but I do end up, that's a really good hitbox that the mirror has, and I was actually able to down the Cowboy to down them both. So that was a pretty decent move. Now we've got the Perfumer, it looks like, coming for the save. At least that's what the chat says. So my hope was, I knew someone was coming, but I was hoping that I could bring the Cowboy there so I could get a couple swings in with 0 hit recovery. However, with that drop down there, I'm not going to be able to make it in time, so at this point, I'm getting the Cowboy in the chair, and the Prospector has been double hit, and I do know that the Perfumer does not have Tide anymore, so I don't need to worry too much about that. And I'm trying to be careful about this, so I can hit the Cowboy. That was a really good lasso. But I do end up getting the Cowboy down here. Now, I made a choice going after the Cowboy instead of chasing the Prospector, especially with only one Cypher left. That makes my job extremely, extremely difficult, because now I've also got to be careful about what Cypher is about to be primed. So I look up there, I see one Cypher remaining, and I'm looking around, seeing if I can find that rescuer there. And I, at this point, don't know how much is left on that Cypher. So the Seer I think the Seer was playing a kiting build, so he didn't have Tide there, so I end up actually getting the Cowboy eliminated. So 3 survivors eliminated. I'm in a pretty alright position. Not good, not bad, but I need to be careful about that last Cypher that I just teleported to. So that's why I chose to quick switch to teleport and do that. And I also went up for the Prospector mainly because the prospector I know already is dead on share. I was seeing if I could get an easy hit there, but hunters, hunter mains, you all should take note of this. Pick the chair that's close to the cipher. You can put a ton of pressure on survivors that way by being able to both have camp the chair and camp the last cipher. So that should be something to take note for any hunter. Now, this seer's doing a really good job juking here. But I do believe that one actually disappeared mid-hit. But I'm not going to waste too much time on the seer because I know that there's a cipher that's about to be popped. That was a good stun. So, yes, I'm going to chase the seer for a bit, keep him distracted. However, I'm also trying to be aware of that last cipher there. So now I'm trying to get a hit on the seer, which I successfully do. But I'm also looking around. You can see me looking for that wiggling cipher. So now I'm coming back to the cipher. Number one thing is camp the last ciphers, because that's what activates the end game, and I on average can usually only get one down with detention. And if you're not in winning position after that, then things can get really, really tricky. Or if you're in 5v5 and you need to get a 4-man. So what I do is I teleport here. Was a choice I made. Instead of looking for the seer, I know the seer's not on cipher immediately at this point, so I don't need to worry about a pop as long as I get the down fast. And the reason why, another reason why I teleported the Perfumer is because that's actually a terrible area, terrible area for a survivor to kite at. I mean, honestly, I'd call that the crap corner of this map. It's just really tough area to work around. And I'm looking around. What I'm doing is I'm trying to look around at all the dungeon spawns, but I actually come across, see the seer right there. So, yeah, the seer shouldn't be trying to kite in this area because this area's got very little kiting potential. But that's the end of game one. Now, the next one that I'm going to be showing you, oh man, I remember this one. This one was really fun, I end up taking advantage of a few of the broken mirror spawns, and I've got in one of my other videos where I show a bunch of the mirror spawns. So I purposely baited that perfume. I wanted that perfume gone so I could get a nice, easy first hit that would actually stay. So that's one strategy you can use to go against Perfumer, is to bait the perfume. Oh yeah, and then there's this. She goes back, but I honestly think she should have kept going forward anyways, because where she perfumed, there was nowhere to go. So if she would have perfumed, she should have perfumed either closer to a wall or closer to some pallets or something for her to go off of after she switches back, but she didn't give herself that flexibility. So now I'm placing the mirror next to a cipher that's being decoded. And now I see that there's a super portal there, and I made a choice not to break the super portal so I could keep track of that Perfumer. But watch what I do here. I go over here. I know they're running for the super portal. They end up making to the super portal. I thought the mercenary was going to follow, but I hit her so that she's viewed, and then I break the super portal. And also keep track that I have my mirror with me, so I can actually just go right over there and get an easy hit on the Priestess here that was trying to heal her before I was able to get over there. But that's another good thing about Bloody Queen, is that she's got extremely good mobility. So now I'm taking the Perfumer to the chair a second time. Now, I've had some experience. I know the Priestess is near, so what the Priestess is trying to do is buy some more time for the survivors. But I was expecting something like that to come about. So what I do is I place my mirror on the other end, force the rescue, bait the portal, and then end up going through. So at this point, the annoying thing about this is that Priestess gets super fast healing. So I can't really buy too much time with that, but I end up going here trying to patrol one of the survivors, but it doesn't quite work out in my favor, so I have to go over here. They end up going through the portal, and at this point, my mirror is on one end of the portal, and I'm on the other, so that kind of has them pinned, and that's something that makes Bloody Queen good against a Priestess. And there's only 4 ciphers remaining. I've done a good enough job disrupting Cypher Rush to the point where the Thief is pretty much the only one decoding, I think, at this point. Now, I was trying to see if I could get a hit there, but at this point, I'm trying to single out the Priestess to get a clear hit. And I was pretty close with that one, but now she doesn't have much that she can do, so I end up pinning her between herself, or my real image and my mirror image, and being able to get it down there. So it's all sorts of different ways that you can, there's a ton of different ways you can use your mirror to try to improve your chase. And part of that's also knowing the good mirror spots, the good switches, and knowing all the different ways that you can use a mirror to improve a chase. But that initial starting spot is very, very important in order for you to be successful with Bloody Queen, because that initial mirror placement can determine a lot about what's going to happen the next 12 seconds, I believe. But I end up making a choice leaving the Thief because there is only 1 cipher left. Now, you know from watching the previous game that I end up, once 1 cipher goes left, I go immediately from chase mode to disrupt mode. And that's extremely important. Oh wait, this isn't the match I was thinking about. I was thinking about one of the matches where I use my my broken mirror switch that I use in another game, but I didn't end up using those in this one because there wasn't that cipher spawn. However, now I can disrupt the cipher again, and I prefer doing the disrupting over the camping, because what that does is, 1, it forces 1 survivor to try to pull a rescue, but 2, it forces, so you got your 1 survivor that's that can't do anything because they're sitting in a chair, and then you have the 1 cipher that's being rescued, and then you have the last survivor, which is being chased. So that ends up working a lot in your favor, being that there's no 1 survivor left over decoding. Now, if there was a 4th survivor here, if I didn't get that Priestess down, things would be a little bit different. It wouldn't be quite so simple. But at this point, I know they're going to try to be going for these 2 ciphers. I know one of them's going to try to run over here, or portal over here, or whatever. So I end up coming back to the Thief. I don't see any ciphers wiggling right now. So I end up getting a hit on the Priestess. That wastes more time. I thought I could get a Terror Shock in there, but not quite. So now I'm just chasing the Thief. The Thief is doing a pretty good job fighting and stuff, but now I'm going kind of back into, I'm going to chase the Thief for a little bit. But I'm also keeping an eye out for those ciphers, and I didn't see any wiggling, which I thought that meant they were healing instead. But the Thief ends up getting the pop, and so what I do here is, I was expecting him to jump, so I wanted to be waiting at the bottom. However, he didn't actually end up jumping. So at this point, that leaves me in a tough spot. I know the thief is there by the gate, so what I choose to do is I'm gonna start walking this way towards that other gate. And now what I'm gonna do is I see nobody's at this gate here, so I'm gonna teleport to the other gate before they have the chance to get it open. And I see that all the survivors are camping out here. So I end up getting a hit on the mercenary. The passive ability is going to go off, so I don't immediately chase him. And I'm going to go after the priestess. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to dish out as much damage as I can before detention rolls out. I personally thought that should have hit. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought that one should have hit. So at this point, the priestess is in a really tough spot. Not a ton she can do right now, but I do end up getting that down there, and I'm going to take the priestess to the chair. The mercenary is on the ground. I have no idea where he's at this point because I was busy chasing priestess. But at this point, I'm going to try to patrol the 2 exit spawns. So I go over here, and they actually end up both getting out. And now for the last match I have for you all today is one where I'm playing Bloody Queen on Red Church. Red Church is a really good Bloody Queen map because it's a relatively small map. You can use your mirror, get from one corner of the map to the other. The only downside I would say to this map is that it can be there's not a lot of places for you to do like all sorts of broken mirror spawns and stuff, just because everything is flat on one level. That's why I like things like I like the maps like Lakeside, Eversleeping, Leo's Memory and stuff, is because there's more potential to do things like that. Oh, and Moonlight's also good too. So now I'm waiting on that first mirror. That's important. I don't just throw it away. I end up going right there and getting a first hit, and I was very fortunate to find the Mind's Eye. The first survivor I ended up coming by was the mercenary, and I don't like going after that. So I end up getting the Mind's Eye down in one mirror. I don't even switch. I just use one mirror and I get 2 hits. Now the thing about the Mind's Eye is you have to really be really strong at decoding, or not decoding, really strong at kiting in order to be good at that survivor. Now I'm trying to rush this save here, try to get a quick hit there. Yeah, the mercenary is going to be coming for the save here. Now, the Mind's Eye ended up escaping, but I got 2 hits on the mercenary. I don't want to waste too much time on this down. I mean, I wasn't figuring it would, but I had 20 seconds. I thought I'd put a patroller on just to make sure that the kite doesn't get too out of control. Now, it's hard enough to do with a normal survivor, much less kite with a patroller on with a Mind's Eye that has the slower vaulting speed, because the only way to counter patroller is to vault at those specific 5-second intervals. So that makes the Mind's Eye's job very difficult here. And I end up seeing where they're all healing here, but I do see the Gravekeeper here, and protecting the Mind's Eye at this point is my #1 priority. Now, if I were the Gravekeeper, I would have probably tried digging some, just because, especially with the chair getting close to launching, that extra rescue speed would be really helpful. So I end up, again, double hitting the rescuer, and that's really convenient for me because that allows me a little bit more flexibility to chase the Mind's Eye because it forces the Gravekeeper to heal. So I end up getting the Mind's Eye kind of trapped in a corner here. There's not a whole lot she can do at this point. So I end up going through hitting the Mind's Eye, and now both the Gravekeeper and the Mind's Eye are down. Now they're Cypher rushing me pretty hard. There's 2 Cyphers remaining. The Perfumer has been hit once. The Gravekeeper's down, and I know that where the Gravekeeper is at because he was over in my area. So I'm going to end up taking the Gravekeeper to the chair, which is the second best decoder remaining. The first would be the Perfumer. Now there's mercenaries coming because he's kind of over in the area, and you know it's starting to get to that point where I'm starting to think more about disrupting, but I'm also trying to rush saves more, and I actually end up double hitting the Merc. So I didn't want to waste too much time on the Gravekeeper because he's underground and he can do a lot when he's underground. So at this point, I'm just waiting out the passive ability, making sure he stays in this area, make my job a lot easier. So then I can be more flexible about choosing a chair that's close to a survivor, which is what I kind of explained in the last one. You pick in the first match that I showed you guys, which is to pick a chair that's close to the remaining Cyphers about to be popped. Now, I picked one that's close to 2 of them. I am aware that there's a third Cypher that's a little bit farther apart, but it's also in a relatively crummy area of the map. Oh, no, it's actually in the small church area in the back. I'm trying to get a little decoding done, but I'm trying to force them to save after half. And the Perfumer actually ends up sneaking up there. She wastes the perfume. And there's a mercenary here, and if I don't be careful, he's going to waste so much time. But I do end up getting the hit there before he's able to gauntlet away. Now, in my opinion, he should have tried gauntleting like right away, because that's what a lot of mercenaries will do. They'll just gauntlet as far away as they can. Now, what the Gravekeeper is trying to do is pretty smart. He's trying to get away from those 2 Cyphers. And then looking back, I should have picked that rocket chair that's in front of me there because it's closer. But they're trying to finish that. I was expecting one of them to run through the pallet because that's just what I've seen more commonly. However, they end up going for that back window there. So this was kind of a crummy spot for me to be in, but I do end up getting that hit there, which is really, really convenient. So that he's not able to body block too far away. So they rescue the mercenary, and at this point I'm just kind of playing around trying to just tear them down one by one, continue disrupting that Cypher. And this is just, in my opinion, a really great example of not giving up at that last Cypher. I am very aware of where that last Cypher is at, and I'm trying to stop the mercenary from getting it primed, even if it means that the Perfumer gets another rescue. It doesn't matter, because the rescue won't matter if the Cypher gets popped anyway. So at this point, chasing down the mercenary and trying to get him chaired, and I believe this is his last chairing. I forget if this is when the Cypher pop comes in. Nope, not quite. It's extremely close. But see, that's how, if I was not worried about that, I would have ended up getting destroyed by a Cypher pop there. So now at this point, I thought they would be going to that gate since that's the Cypher that was popped. But I also have teleport, so I teleport to the other gate. Nobody's there. So what I just kind of do now is I'm walking back. And this is kind of what I do a lot when it gets to this point, is just stop the exit gates from being fully decoded. So at this point, I'm over here, and I end up coming across the Perfumer. I would have rather I come across the Gravekeeper. However, Just because the Gravekeeper is dead on chair, and the Perfumer is more of a kiter at this point than what the Gravekeeper is. Now, I know that the dungeon's there, so I'm also trying to play a little bit of defense at the same time, but the Gravekeeper ends up getting out, and that's the game. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I do hope you guys are learning something from these. I hope they are helping you improve your Bloody Queen gameplay. And if they are, please consider liking this video and subscribing to my channel to be notified when I release new content. And thanks for watching.